Welcome to our Humane Farming Mentorship Program info session. I am Larissa McKenna, FACTS Humane Farming Program Director. Thank you all for being here. So let me just take a minute or two to do a few quick introductions. Before we dive in, we do have a lot to cover and lots of wonderful panelists to talk with. But Food Animal Concerns Trust is a national nonprofit organization. We're headquartered in Illinois, and we work to ensure that food producing animals are raised in a healthy and humane manner. And we accomplish this by supporting humane farmers, such as yourselves that are on this call, also promoting policies that make food from animals safe and healthy to eat, and then also helping consumers make informed food choices. So I direct FACTS Humane Farming Program, and we work with livestock and poultry farmers from all across the country to provide services such as grants, scholarships, personalized materials, webinars, and of course, a mentorship program. So we are currently accepting applications for both our Fund to Farmer grants and our Humane Farming Mentorship Program, which we are here to talk about today. So please visit our website at foodanimalconcernstrust.org/farmer to learn more about these program services and everything else that FACT offers. I'd also like to introduce my fabulous FACT colleague, Samantha Gasson. So Samantha is going to be your point of contact for our mentorship program. She works really hard and diligently to coordinate it. Along with her family, she also owns and operates Bull City Farm in North Carolina. Also joining us today, we have 5 amazing farmers who are currently participating in our mentorship program, and we'll be introducing them in just a little later in this presentation. So on tap for our session today, we will cover the following topics. Samantha is going to give a brief overview of FACT, and then also how our Humane Farming Program mentorship program works. We'll also hear from several of our current mentors and mentees. They are really the stars of this show. And then we'll take some time for audience questions towards the end. I'd like to note that all the photographs that are featured in this presentation are courtesy of current and former mentorship program participants. So I think at this point, I'm going to pass the virtual mic over to you, Samantha, so that you can tell everyone about how our Humane Farming Mentorship Program works and all of the perks that come with it.
All right. Can you hear me okay? Larissa?
Yes, I can hear you.
So the Humane, wait, hold on a second. I don't know that I don't know that I have control over it. I think you have control. Let me see. Sorry. Okay, I'm going to do stop remote control for you. Okay, now it should work. Hopefully. There we go. So what makes this program unique? So we serve farmers across the country, and that there's sort of 2 sides to that. There's a lot of benefit getting to know people from across the country, but then also that means that it is hard for us to find a mentor necessarily in your area. So if it is really important that you have somebody from your area, then or within driving distance to your farm, then you need to let us know that. We are specifically for welfare-oriented livestock and poultry farmers. You do not have to have any of the certifications, but you do need to at least practice good animal welfare. We also include farmers who are seeking certification, as well as those who are not necessarily seeking certification. So I just said we're in the US. The mentor-mentee matches are very tailored to your specific goals and what the mentor is able to give you. So we spend a lot of time talking to you about that, to talking to mentees about that, and then also talking to mentors about what they can potentially offer. And if you've already applied, you'll see that we do ask you quite a few questions about that. It is a 1-year commitment. It's actually a little bit less than a year. We start roughly in February, March. It sort of depends how things sort of come together, because we are very focused on making sure that we get the right mentor for the mentee and the right mentee for the mentor. But we will, starting this year, instead of ending in February of 2023, we are going to end in December of 22. We found that there's not a lot of activity in January and February, that really just finalizing things in December it was just probably the best way to go. Once a match is made, the mentees, and so we don't require any money up front, but once the match has been made, then in order to start the program, the mentees will need to pay $200. The mentors also get a stipend that is about $100 more than that, and then FACT covers the difference. We have grants for that. What's really neat is sort of once you get into the mentorship program, you really do sort of become part of, like the FACT family. That sounds really woo, but basically you get first dibs on scholarships, and we have we've started an Ask an Expert series that we invite our mentees and mentors for the season to attend. We had our first one last week, and it went really, really well. And there's also travel stipends, so you can visit each other's farms. This is important. We try really hard to match all of our mentees. We always have a lot more mentors than we do mentees, so we're pretty good about we've been pretty lucky about being able to match all of our mentees in the past, but maybe one person or two people, but most people we could match, unless you've got something really funky that you want help with. But we hardly ever use all of the mentors that apply. And so if you're applying as a mentor, don't be offended if we don't end up contacting you. It's just that you did not have the skill set that was needed that particular year. And it's different every year. Like last year, everybody needed somebody who had something to do with dairy. So I was calling up all of my friends I knew who have dairies to try and see if they'd be willing to be a mentor, the people I have respect for. And that's actually how one of our mentors ended up being a mentor this year, because I called her up and said, please. And that's actually Ben, who's going to be a panelist. That's how he became a mentor, because he's a friend of mine. And I called him up and said, oh, you'd be perfect for this one person. But anyway, so we do try very hard. So this is for mentees in particular. It is really designed for livestock and poultry farmers seeking personalized guidance from an experienced farmer on business strategies and management practices. We really like for you to already be raising your animals and have at least a year or two of experience. We've certainly made exceptions to that for people who are just starting out. But we make sure that we match that mentee with a mentor who's willing to work with somebody who's just starting out. I think if you've got a clear idea of where you want to go and where you want your farm to go, if you have that idea in your head before starting this program, you're going to be a lot more successful. And like I said before, mentees pay $200 to once accepted, they pay $200 to participate. And there are, and we sort of talked through all of this in my first meeting with you. We talked through what sort of a commitment it is. And you really do need to be committed to working with your mentor and communicating with your mentor on a regular basis. That could be whatever you guys decide it is, but the mentorship pairs that are most successful are the ones that commit to at least once a month to talk. Is really very helpful. Anyway. So if you're interested in being a mentor, we look for people who have a decent amount of experience. We certainly have had mentors who do not have 10 years worth of experience, but we do like for you to really have some solid experience behind you, sort of been through the ropes, seen seeing how things work and how things don't work. And we ask that you be very realistic about what you can offer your mentee. Also, you remember also that the mentee is paying for this experience as well. So if you have experience teaching or you've been a mentor in the past, that's helpful, but it's not necessarily the be all to end all. I don't know that Ben had any experience being a mentor in the past, and he can speak to that when he speaks, but he has turned out to be probably one of our best mentors. He's pretty amazing. Don't let it go to your head, Ben. You also, as a mentor, need to be able to commit to regular phone calls and emails with your mentee, and if possible, maybe go on some farm visits. You're compensated $300, and there's an additional stipend, travel stipend of $300 that's available for mentors who visit their mentee's farm. Although I think we've done it the other way around before, when a mentee has visited a mentor's farm, that we have allowed that, but we do that sort of on a case-by-case basis. If you would like to apply, which we hope you do, we have an online Google form, and I'm sure Larissa will, I can't see the chat while I'm sharing my screen, but I'm sure Larissa will post it. It's foodanimalconcerns.org/mentorship. And if you even just go to the website, it's super easy to find. We're going to ask for your contact information. Please make sure you've correctly spelled everything in your email, because it's then we have to sort of try and hunt you down. And if we're busy and we've got a ton of mentors, then we'll probably just put you to the side. So when you put your email in there, make sure it's correct. You're going to be asked for farm information, your name, what you raise, how long you've been doing it, and for how long. We also look for your goals and your priorities. We have found, because this is, I think, the 5th year doing this, we have found that mentorship pairs, that mentees who have very clear goals when they start the program, are the most successful. And when they communicate those goals with their mentors are better able to say whether or not they can help them achieve those goals. So that is something, it's not going to be sort of, oh, I just want help, with my farm. But if you come into it saying, I really want to increase my production on my laying hens, and I would like to get to an X amount. You don't have to stick to those goals, but it's really useful to have an idea of what you want out of the program, rather than just being sort of very loosey-goosey in general and that kind of stuff. Anyway, for the potential mentors, we ask for your skills and your past experience. That's just so, that's just helps me better start that sort of matching process, because what I do is I go through all of the mentees, I list what their goals are, and I start looking at what kind of a mentor they'll need. And then I usually go through all the mentors and start just putting in my mind 3 or 4 mentors that are potential good match for the mentee. And then I'll have a phone call with the mentee, and we will really sort of narrow it down. I'll ask for any clarification I might need, and also any sort of special needs you might have in mind, or things you would like your mentor to be just sensitive about. And then I usually, I tried this last year and it worked really well. I'll give the mentee a couple of mentors to choose between, if there's a couple of mentors that might match. And then the mentee can talk to both of those mentors and then pick somebody that might match for them. All right. Oh, I went through all of that. Sorry. I'll do it again. So so let's just start out. If you think you might want to do this, go through, look at all the materials, see if there's anything in there that you might might need clarification on it. You can email either me or Larissa. We're both pretty good about answering. I only work part-time, so I don't answer quite as frequently as Larissa does, but she's a little bit better about it than I am. But I will get to you within a few days. Our deadline is December 31st. First thing we do is I will call all of the mentees, and then I will set up calls with potential mentor candidates, and based on the specific needs that the mentee has. And then we arrange a call between the mentor and the mentees, mentee and the potential mentors, and then we just sort of, I turn you guys over to Larissa, and and then Larissa will take it from there, and she'll take your payments and everything. And if you agree to match, then do not agree to match, or you don't find anybody, then I'll just keep looking for you. And it's okay. This, this is fine. So if I set you up with a couple of people to chat with and you don't think either of them are going to help you meet your goals, then that's on me, and I will try and find somebody else for you. And that has certainly happened in the past, where I thought somebody was going to be a great fit, and when they talked, there was something the mentee maybe hadn't mentioned, or that I hadn't thought to ask the mentor, or the mentor maybe wasn't quite as comfortable as the mentee needed them to be with a particular topic. And that's come up every single year. That comes up at least once or twice. And so then I just go back to the list of mentors and just keep looking. Anyway, it's a really fun program. We have a good time with it. There's some really, I've just met some really amazing mentors and mentees, and people that I just really hope I can stay in contact with for a really long time. So I guess at this point, we've got our pharma panel. We have Annie Hawkins and Annie Warmke, sorry, Annie, and Ben Grimes, Evelyn Franklin, and Heather Richardson. And we're just going to go through one by one. Larissa, because I'm sharing my screen, I cannot see the Word document I had. So if you wouldn't mind just introducing everybody, that would be great. And then should we answer any questions first before we move forward? How do you want to do that, Larissa?
Oh, I don't have all that open either, Sam. Yeah, so I think what we're going to do is we will go through each one. There was a question that came in really quickly that I'll just ask to you, Sam. Someone said that they did already apply, they haven't received a response, and that's to be expected because I'll let you elaborate a little bit.
Yeah, so I don't know what this is, nothing bad at all, but I don't even look at any of this until later on in December, once things start closing out, because it's easier for me if I've just got a whole list of people that I need to start looking at. If you applied as a mentee, I'm happy, Emily, I'm happy to look that up once I'm no longer sharing my screen, so everybody doesn't see me looking that up. I'm just going to jot your name down, and I will reach out. If you don't, I will reach out to you if you have responded. Otherwise, I won't have your email. But I will. Hey, tell you what, just send the host and panelists, if you go to the to section on the chat, just send me your email and I'll email you either way to let you know if I've received that. Does that sound okay, Emily?
That's okay? Sounds good. Yes. So there is a way on the chat that you can communicate just with the panelists and the host. So that would be us. And if you have any private questions, that's how you can get in touch with us. So sure, I will do some introductions here. I'm really psyched that we have 5 folks that are gonna just tell you a little bit about their experience in the program. Some have been, this is their first year. We have a couple mentors that have worked with us for several years. So this is really wonderful. I'm going to start off with, so Sam, you're going to have to probably progress the slides because I don't have
control anymore.
Any control. I'm not in control. I have Anna of Over the Moon Farm and Flowers. So Anna Hankins and Shay Pesvick, and I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing anyone's names, own and operate Over the Moon Farm and Flowers, which is located in rural Delaware County, Iowa. They grow cut flowers and raise pastured chickens, turkeys, heritage breed pigs. Let's see what else we want to say. They primarily market through a CSA model and have a 100% flower CSA and are in their first months of a new exciting endeavor of a meat CSA. So I'm going to ask Anna if you could please come off of mute and tell us a little bit more why you decided to participate in FACT's mentorship program this year, and maybe a few specific details or projects that you worked on with your mentor.
Oh, can I also just say that is just the best picture. It's gorgeous. I love it.
Thank you. So hello, everyone. I am Anna. And so to start, the reason that I initially applied for the Humane Farming Mentorship Program was because we had attended a few of FACT's webinars last fall and last winter. And it really got us thinking that, one, this organization had just like a wealth of knowledge that we wanted to tap into. And also, we had been growing the cut flowers. We had been using them as a way to start building our business. But both of us are absolutely livestock farmers and animal people at heart, and we farm on a family cattle farm. And we knew that we wanted to really start growing those enterprises now that we were in year 2 of having our own direct to consumer business. So that's why I initially applied, is I really wanted some support starting to sell meat and starting to market meat. And when I initially applied, I remember going over with Sam, my 3 goals were to sell my first year of pasture raised turkeys, to market our handful of heritage hogs, and to successfully move our laying hens, our couple hundred laying hens, out to pasture. I would say that those goals did shift and adjust. We moved a little bit away from the laying hens and into some more meat birds, but the other 2 goals stayed the same. And with Ben from Dawnbreaker Farms, my mentor, we worked a lot on the turkeys, and in general, we worked a lot on the business planning, the financial side, developing the meat CSA, and I feel like the turkeys kind of became the main thing that I asked Ben many, many questions about. And then I just also wanted to say in this introduction that speaking to the experience applying for the mentorship and going through that process with Sam, as a queer farmer in rural Iowa, on a family farm, dealing with lots of different dynamics and whatnot, I felt like the program was so responsive to my needs and to finding a mentor that I felt comfortable with and that I felt comfortable sharing my identity with and my situation with. I felt like it was the most consensual and like well thought out process that I have ever personally experienced. So I just wanted to name that for other people that it might be relevant for. Yeah.
Thank you, Anna. It's wonderful to have you. And thank you for those kind words. I know Sam is a true matchmaker, I think. It's an art and a science, I think. So, and we really, really think through a lot of this. But yeah, it's wonderful to hear that. And we're really glad to have you. And Anna's been participating in several of our other programs as well. So. Let me go on. So we'll come back to Anna during the panel. Let me go on to our next panelist, or I should say during the Q&A. So I'm getting up my bios here. We have Annie. Annie, I've known Annie for many years, is an activist, farmer, mentor, consultant, and a writer. She's been teaching natural goat health for the past 12 years through her goat college, and is the author of 3 goat books, including The Business of Goat Herding. Her latest project is the development of 3 small food forests as part of an aggressive climate adaptation plan. Besides serving as a consultant to various projects related to women in agriculture, she has served as a mentor for FACTS, also the Women Food and Agriculture Network, and Rural Action. She founded, along with Carrie Starr, Women Grow Ohio and Buffalo Gal Voices. Annie is a graduate of Ohio University and co-owns with her husband Jay Blue Rock Station, a sustainable living center located in Southeast Ohio. So Annie, if you take a minute or two to just tell us what drew you to our program and why you've enjoyed it, and maybe some of the things that you've worked on over the years with your mentees.
Great. Well, I tried to be on the Zoom call with the picture, but rural America does not like to offer broadband, and I kept getting booted off. So anyway, thank you for the opportunity to share my experience with FACT. I don't remember exactly how I got involved, but I think I maybe attended one of the webinars, but it's been a while. And I love working primarily with women, although I do a lot of work with anybody. I'm not gender biased, but being a woman, I feel like, and in an industry that's very male oriented, I feel like I have something to offer in terms of my confidence level, my boldness around helping women to figure out how can we make a living in agriculture. So I have enjoyed immensely being a mentor with FACT. I've worked with a variety of people. Last year, I worked with somebody who was coming out of a very conventional farm situation, inheriting it from his parents and wanting to go into raising pigs. And so that was fun and interesting, even with COVID, which is crazy. And this year I had a wonderful, not that the others weren't, but I had a really, I would say my best mentee, and that's Evelyn Franklin out of Nashville area, Tennessee. She's just been a joy. We worked on a lot of different things. We worked on goat health and pasture rotation, lots of things around goats, but I've also been able to help her really focus down on a business plan. And I'm not talking like something you'd give to a bank, but actually, what are all the resources she has and how can we take those resources and make a living, not just from raising goats. And so we've come up with some really cool things around the history of the area and a plan for her to work to really do some cool things with the property she has. So it's just been great fun. And we have worked together a lot this year, each year different. Some years I don't talk to the person that I'm working with, regularly or anything, but she and I have worked regularly, and I certainly have enjoyed my experience with her. And I encourage people to get involved because FACT is great. I mean, I have taught webinars for FACT and enjoyed that too. And I love the webinars. I feel like they're taught by really intelligent people who know what they're talking about because they've done the work. And that's what the mentoring is about and the mentee. So for me, it's a partnership with the mentee, and it's just been a great experience. And I really appreciate the opportunity to participate.
Thank you, Annie. It's always wonderful to have you in our program. And we're actually going to be hearing from Evelyn in just a little bit. So our next panelist is another mentor, Ben Grimes. Let me get over to my notes about Ben. So Ben is with Dawnbreaker Farms in North Carolina, and he raises pigs, chickens, ducks, and turkeys for sale to restaurants, grocery, and direct-to-market sales on his farm in central North Carolina. All animals are raised and rotated on quality pasture. All poultry is slaughtered on farm according to humane standards. And this is his second year as a mentor, and he has seen its capacity to improve the quality and efficacy of mentees. So Ben, if you'd like to take a minute or two just to tell us about your experience, what drew you to the program, and so that other potential mentors might know what's in store.
Sure. Country internet's a little slow, so if it cuts out, I'll stop here and join my phone. You can come back to me. So thank you, Larissa, for the introduction. I think what I really love about this program in general is I think that as a farmer community, we have a mentality of martyrdom that we are going to go through. We're going to be farmers and we're going to be poor and we're going to work our tails off, all because of the lifestyle, because it's what we believe in and we want to make the world a better place. And I think that that's good to an extent, but I think if we're going to have a real impact on the world, then it needs to be done through a profitable business that anybody can do, not just people who have outside money. And so I think that what I really love to do is to work with people who are also drawn to wanting to make their farm to have a better quality of life and a more profitable direction. And I think that, as Sam, as you said, is a matchmaker, and she does a really good job of connecting those kind of people. So I'm always happy to, work with that and help different farmers across the country be able to just increase their quality of life and make their lives more profitable, as well as maintaining the integrity of their farm enterprise.
Awesome. Thank you, Ben. And you've been working with Anna this year. Yeah.
That's correct.
Awesome. you heard from earlier. All right. So next up, let's get back here. I'm going to cue Evelyn. Hopefully she's still on. All right, hold on, Evelyn. I'm going to read your bio and then I'm going to ask you to unmute. So Evelyn Franklin and her husband have forest land that they're trying to improve to encourage habitat for wildlife. Evelyn's interested in using her goats to help her clear her woods so she can establish a forest farm. Evelyn has a long-range goal of having an outdoor classroom where she can teach kids about the forest, wildlife, in Tennessee.
99.3. There you go.
Oh, okay. Hold on, I'm going to ask you just to mute one more time, Evelyn, and then I'll let you know.
Oh, here I am. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Evelyn.
Okay, great. Well, I just can't say enough of how positive this experience was for me. Annie has just been a breath of fresh air. She's been the first person to really believe in me. And really helped me get organized and, kind of steer me into what is really a reality, and help me with the computer and different agencies and different people that I could call on. She's helped me with my goats, with feeding. 2020, I lost like 6 goats. And so she really helped me with a feeding program and what to watch for and husbandry. And then with my little, my classroom that I'm trying to establish, she helped me kind of come up with a list of things to do and just to get me going in the right path. And so I just can't say enough positive things about it. It was just what I needed to really encourage me to keep going. I was pretty discouraged before I did this program. So thank you so much.
It's really lovely to hear, Evelyn and Annie. I'm so glad that you kind of have been making progress towards some of those bigger picture things. That's exciting too. So, and then we have one final speaker today that's sitting on our panel. I'm going to introduce Heather Richardson.
Okay.
I'm going to put you on mute, Evelyn. So End of the Road Farm and Studio, which is located in Ethansville, Alabama, is operated by Heather and Darwin Richardson for the last 4 years. They are a veteran-owned family farm, bringing veggies, fruit, free-range eggs, and responsibly raised pasture meats to their community. Their mission is to provide their local community with great locally grown food using regenerative farming practices while revitalizing the local food system. Heather and Darwin believe that they were put here to be stewards of land and animals, and while they use the land to raise food, they are responsible not to overuse resources and to ensure that the animals are treated with the utmost respect. They believe in leaving this world in better shape than it was when they arrived, and are in the process of transitioning their new farm to a regenerative paradigm. Super exciting. So I'd like to turn the floor over to you, Heather, if you'd like to take a minute or two just to speak a little bit more about your working on your farm and what drew you to the program, and how you've been working with your mentor.
Hi, I sure will. When I was sitting where everybody's sitting right now, listening to this same exact webinar last year, I always thought, gee, is this something for me? Am I ready for it? And I remember the one thing that y'all said at the end was, even if you don't think this is right for you, to go ahead and apply. And so I did. And I want to thank you so much for accepting me into it. It has been a just wonderful experience. We started off, we moved to our new farm 2 years ago, the 19th of this month, and it was about 65 acres. And October of this year, we unexpectedly picked up another 240 when my father-in-law wound up with a massive subdural hematoma. So we now have over 300 acres that we are going to be working on regenerating the soil, doing, the rotational grazing. But one of the main things my mentor and I've been working on is marketing, because if you don't have a good marketing paradigm out there, you can raise and grow all the food you want. You're just going to be sitting on it. So that's pretty much what we've been working on.
Awesome. Do you want to elaborate just about some of the marketing things that was it more website based, or is it kind of getting your branding together?
We already had our branding together. It was more website based, using social media platforms and things like that, getting a good marketing plan, just making sure you're posting regularly and different types of posts. And, I can't remember the rule, but you don't want to keep throwing marketing and buy me. You want most of your information out there about your farm, what you're doing, throwing some personal stuff in there, not too personal. And then every so many posts put out hey, we've got this to offer. We're going to be located here kind of deal.
Perfect. That's exactly right. And we actually have a whole series of webinars for folks that are kind of looking into how to it's essentially cultivating your customers and, obviously trying to sell them things and make money, but not making it all about that all the time. So that's wonderful. So, well, thank you for everyone giving us a little insight into, how you're working and how this year has gone. I think right now we're ready for questions. So if there are questions from audience, feel free to either type into the chat or into that Q&A bubbles. Otherwise, we do have some questions that we can get started with. Do you want to take the first one, Sam?
Sure. I'm actually going to put the slide back to Ben's slide because I didn't forward it. So just in case you want to reach out to Ben for any reason, and also just see how awesome he is, look how many businesses he has. He's crazy. Okay, so
You can put, maybe put it towards the
so
when you're ready.
Pull up anything. So why don't you do it, Larissa? Because I can't pull anything up without sharing my unsharing my screen.
Gotcha. Yeah, I have to.
Should I just do that? Is there any point to?
Well, you could probably take it down for now, and then we can put it back up when we get to the final. There we go. All right. So now we have a whole Hollywood Squares. Is that what? I don't even know. So we have several questions, unless there are any that came in the chat bar. Let's see. All right, we do have one. Let's see. I'm going to put this out there to the mentees. This is a good one. The question is, what types of goals have you seen mentees submit? So maybe, Sam, you can also speak to that, and then each of the and we talked briefly about that in the introductions about what the goals, have tended to be. And I know there's a range.
Yeah, it's different every year. I usually ask that you have 3 goals that are attainable. So you don't want to sort of say, these really great lofty goals. I want to increase my revenue by $100,000. They have to be sort of very attainable goals that you can accomplish during your a little bit less than a year's time, and you're just going to be a lot more successful if you can do that. It's also a lot better if you've put a lot of, not a lot maybe, but a little bit of effort into some of the research behind your goals to see if they're realistic. So it may be, I don't know, if you want to, raise a bunch of pigs in your woods, but you haven't done the research to find out that you can't do that because your soil and water won't allow you to have that many animals in your woods. So just come prepared. Don't expect your mentor to fix everything for you or do your homework for you. You're going to have to do your homework. Your mentor is really there for guidance and expertise. And I think the mentees can probably do a better job of saying whether or not their goals were met. But I think Anna is especially a good example because she has sort of changed, not changed necessarily, but modified her goals. And I sort of knew that she might. And that was part of the reason why I put her with Ben, because I was like, she's going to talk to Ben. Ben will help her. So that it helps when I know the mentors at this point. I know Annie relatively well, and I know Ben well, and I'm really getting there's quite a few other mentors that we use routinely because we know that they're really good mentors. But we're always looking to add more mentors who've got that experience. Mentors are a unique group of people, and I can't say enough about how wonderful ours have been. We've been very lucky.
Anna, Heather, and or Evelyn, do you want to pipe in just to kind of either talk about what goals if you remember the goals that you submitted up front, and then, if there has been any evolution with those goals?
I can't remember all of them. I know I think there's like 3, like Samantha said. One was working on a rotational pattern for a farm. We have touched on and has kind of evolved the mentorship while we were focusing on the marketing. So it was kind of a side thing. We go, okay, hey, what about this? What do you think about this? Okay, yeah, that'll work. Or why don't you think about this? But the main focus was on the marketing.
And our Evelyn, would you like to? No pressure.
Yeah, I feel like, well, Sam already said this, but I do feel like my goals definitely shifted. And I think a lot of that was being paired with Ben. I felt like I shifted from some specific production related goals, like moving the hens to pasture, to more business model and like financial sustainability goals. So with starting the meat CSA and having our first successful fall and now winter of that, that was not something that was even on my radar. And I think the mentorship program and being able to follow Ben's lead, like allowed that to become a goal that I wouldn't have been able to name to begin with. But yeah, so it was really helpful. I do remind myself of the goals often that I had set in the beginning, because it's also good to have things that you can accomplish. So I did successfully sell all our pigs, and I did successfully sell all our turkeys, and like it's great to cross that, to feel like I did that, but our goals definitely shifted a lot. Yeah.
Thank you.
And I do think that that's part of this. I mean, I do sort of emphasize having some goals going into the program, but it's important to be flexible, and you may get ideas from your mentor or your mentor. And then I think the best relationship is when the mentor learns just about as much as the mentee, and that because everybody has something to offer. And a lot of the mentees, you guys have been in business for a while, so it's not like there's very few of you that are very, just new to farming. So you've got quite a bit of experience under your belt. And that's one of the things I've heard over and over again from mentors, is that they're getting a lot out of the program as well. And that's actually, I did a little bit of research into it, just, what to expect from mentorship programs. And that's sort of one of the things that is the key to a good relationship, a mentee or mentor relationship, is when you're both getting something out of it. And it's not just one-sided, where the mentor is doing, sharing all the knowledge. There's a lot that the mentee can offer the mentor, and you can grow as a person, as a mentor as well. That sounds really flaky, but
we're all about flaky. No, I'm just kidding. So I have a question, unless Evelyn, you had anything that you wanted to add to that, we can, otherwise I have a question for our mentors. Actually, it's a 2-part question I'm going to combine. I think I'd like to ask a little bit about what kind of time commitment as a mentor can someone expect? And, second part of that question is, most of these relationships have been long distance, and that was fine during COVID because a lot of things couldn't be in person anyways. And find if you're working on, let's say, marketing and those sort of things. But how does it work for you in terms of the time commitment, and then also the long distance mentorship? How about Annie? I'm going to shoot it to you first. Are you there, Annie? Okay, Ben, can you hear me? Oh, Annie got, no?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Do you want to go, would you like to answer the?
I'm sorry, I was totally distracted. I don't even know what the question is.
Okay, question was, that's fine, can you talk about the time commitment as a mentor? And then also second part, just more about being a long distance mentorship relationship and how that kind of worked into things and that worked for you.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I think that the time commitment is up to whatever the needs of the mentor and the mentee are. I think that both times that I've been in the program, we've settled on about bi-weekly. And then, as we said, we try to do a bi-weekly talk generally. And then, if there are text questions or if we need to do another call, we set that up. And it's generally kind of flexible. Farmers are busy and there's a lot of unpredictability. It's the nature of our jobs. And so, we set a general time, but then we generally kind of check in and then change it according to whatever the needs of the week are. And then in terms of the long distance, I mean, that hasn't been a hindrance to me over the 2 years of doing this. I think that most farming questions in terms of production can be handled with a YouTube video. And otherwise, if there is something specific, we can talk or text. But I think that the main benefit of this program isn't going to be on-site physical with your actual production. It's going to be more the business and the mindset and accomplishing your goals. And that doesn't really matter if you're in person or not.
You worked with someone that last year that was in Rhode Island, and this year you're working with someone that's in Iowa, and you're based out of North Carolina, correct? So it's not next door, but it's been workable. And I think most people are actually getting used to this sort of thing, at least for some, some things need to be hands-on, but some things can be dealt with on Zoom or text.
So Larissa, this is Annie. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I don't know what I'm having all kinds of technical problems. But so if it's okay, I want to answer your question.
Yes, please. Absolutely.
So I've worked with people that were near, like within 2 hours or 3 hours of a drive. And then I've worked with people that weren't nearby. And I do think that depending on what the person is needing, sometimes it is valuable to be able to physically go to the site. For example, if we're trying to analyze all the resources that this person has to try to make a living, not just that they have a goat or they have pigs or whatever. Sometimes it's really helpful to be able to see what they're talking about. And so, but we also, if we have good technology and we have good broadband, which has been a challenge with Evelyn and myself, but you can do a tour and with your phone and you can show me, it's not 100% effective, but there are ways to overcome that. And so I think it's really about what Sam's saying, is that making that match. And about being flexible. So whatever, a lot of times people start out with, this is what I really want to work on, but you can see there's some underlying things that have to change before you can get to that goal. And I think we have to be flexible as mentors to say, what is it you really need? And also honest about what's achievable. And sometimes maybe it's better to be in person, but I've found during COVID, it's worked fine. Although I would have loved to have gone to Evelyn's and I was going to go, but COVID put the kibosh to that. So.
Awesome. Okay. So I'm just trying to keep up with some of the things that are being submitted. I think what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to put this out to everyone. Everyone on the panel, one or two pieces or tips or pieces of advice that you've found to really make this a successful experience for you. And whether that's do the communications, whether that's being, the goal setting or whatever it was for you as a mentor or mentee. If you could maybe identify one or two things for potential mentors or mentees to keep in mind if they choose to participate in this program, that would perhaps make it a really positive experience. So let's see, who should we start with? How about Evelyn? Are you there, Evelyn? All right,
Sorry, Miss Evelyn, Dr. Franklin is in a room with a patient. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay.
She told me to listen up for her.
We'll let her know that we were looking for her, but it's
Okay,
not a
I'll
big
have
deal.
her get on just as soon as she comes out.
Okay, yeah, no worries.
Okay.
Evelyn's at work. And all right, how about Heather? Or Anna. I see Anna. I can confirm that Anna's.
My internet connection.
I know.
Okay, wait, is it Heather going or should I go?
Heather, are you on? Heather? Okay, I think you should go, Anna, and we'll catch whoever next.
Oh gosh. Okay, my piece.
I'm here.
Okay.
Not sure how long this is going to hold up.
I know we're all having kind of, so, okay, well, while we have Heather, we'll go with, could you have any tips or pieces of advice for potential mentees, people that, are considering the program?
You'll have.
Uh-oh, we can't hear you, Heather. All right, I'm sorry, Heather. We can't hear you if you're speaking. So I'm going to have Anna continue until we possibly reconnect.
Okay, so I think my pieces of advice, one would be to not undervalue how significant and important little things are. So I feel like for us, one of the biggest takeaways from the mentorship program were just like little comments or little pieces of advice that we got from Ben. More so, even the big things were great too. But when you're either a new or young business owner and farmer, I think the little things can really add up to a lot of stress. And I feel like Ben being able to answer small questions, both production related and otherwise, made our year so much more successful than I ever could have imagined. Like specifically, like what kind of ice packs to get, like seems like so small, but made turkey distribution like so much less stressful than it otherwise would have been, or how to communicate fresh versus frozen turkeys to customers. I would never have known how much those things would matter a year ago, and they really did. And then my second piece of advice, I think, would be to take advantage of all of FACT's resources that go along with the mentorship program. I also was able to access one of their small scholarships to do another marketing class that was really helpful, I think, in combination and now their financial training. So I feel like the mentorship program itself is obviously incredible, and my experience has been so positive, but it also has opened the door for a lot of other resources that are well worth taking advantage of as well. So that's it.
Thank you, Anna. It's great to hear. We'll plug away at those other services. We want folks to know about those. How about Annie? Do you have a piece of advice or a tip for potential mentors?
Well, I think for potential mentors, I think that it's really important to try your best to really figure out what is it the person really needs versus what they're presenting. And I know I just talked a little bit about that, but I've just seen it too many times where they might say, I want to raise pigs. And then it's like, well, wait a minute, pigs are selling for you've got to make a profit. And pigs at that point were selling for $40 a piece at full grown pigs. And so we came up with a different strategy about what needed to happen, and it was way far off from what the person had thinking about, and they were not and they weren't thinking about maybe doing heritage breed. But anyway, I asked him to read a couple of books that I felt were really helpful, and so we morphed things into what worked versus what. It wasn't like he wasn't going to raise pigs, but he couldn't raise pigs the way he was doing it and make money, make a profit. And I think that's one of the advantages. And I think it's also another thing is Anna's right. It's the little things that we all learn from our mistakes because we've made a few. And so I think it's important for mentors to say, I don't know the answer. Let's figure it out together. That's where that partnership comes in. I think, or to say, that's just not my field of expertise, but hey, I know somebody you could talk to. Don't try to be everything to that person because that's just not fair. And yeah, we know stuff and we like sharing that, but I think the real thing is to remember it's a partnership and make friends and learn things together. It's just, it's great. We're not being paid the big bucks, so there's got to be more to it than just the fact that we're gonna get a few dollars. It really is. We're doing it because we care and we believe in people, sharing. Lots of us used to have grandparents that could do this for us, but today it's got to be things like this most of the time.
So I think Annie makes a really good point, which is, as mentors, don't feel like you have to know absolutely everything. You're there, you're there to help with what you know. So if you don't know it, don't be afraid to say you don't know it. And nobody expects you to know everything because that's crazy. Nobody, anybody who does expect you, then they're crazy. Don't pay any attention to them. And there is one question, Larissa, that seems to keep coming up. It's about whether or not FACT actually offers a certification, which we do not. FACT does not certify anybody. So do you want to talk a little bit to that, Larissa? Because that's come up twice now in the chat.
Sure. Yeah, I can speak to it really quickly before we finish up with this question. But yeah, we aren't a certifying organization. We do support people that do want to become welfare certified in various ways. And that's part of our grants program. And it could be part of, if you're seeking someone as a mentor to kind of lead you along that path. That's certainly a goal that we've seen in the past. So, but FACT itself is not going to be on your farm auditing. So let me just finish up here with Evelyn and Ben with that same question. Evelyn, I think you're back, I believe. The question is, if you had to share one or two tips or pieces of advice for potential mentees, people that were in your situation last year, for success in the program, what would those be? I think Evelyn's back, maybe not. Okay, Ben, do you want to take it and roll with it until we? Perhaps...
Yeah, I think that I want to reiterate what Anna said, which is, the little things like I think farming is really stressful, and there are times when you're just kind of you don't know what to do in a certain situation, and it helps just to have someone you can quickly text. And get an answer to. Like I remember Anna was having a really hard time making sure her turkeys had enough water. And so I just texted her a picture of the water that I use for the turkeys. And I think she got it like next day or 2 days later. And it really, stopped her from having to spend a lot of time filling turkey waters. And I think the other thing, which I believe Annie said, was that you just got to listen to the situation. You got to listen to what's going on with the mentee and what they're needing at the moment, and be able to kind of cater what you need to them. Because you certainly, every farm is unique. I think that's one thing that's about farms versus other businesses. Every farm is unique, has its own set of circumstances and its own systems. And you really need to kind of listen and understand that system. And I think as a mentor as well, that's something that you need to do. And as a mentee, be able to communicate that system and have that holistic understanding of how the other farm system works, because it may be very different from yours, as well as their context in which they're farming. And knowing that context and holistic context will help you offer better advice that's catered to their needs.
Wonderful,
Yeah,
thank you.
Ben, that's really good advice. And I think just in general, as a mentor, you're not there to necessarily lecture. And everybody sort of has touched on this. You're not there to be the expert necessarily. You're there to share. It's almost like you're, and I text Ben on a regular basis as well, or at least when I first started out with turkeys, I texted him all the time, and he's really good at answering. Should I share your phone number, Ben?
If you Google Dawnbreaker Farms or Dependable Poultry Processors, it shows up. So if you really want it, it's out there on the internet.
I was totally kidding.
Find.
But yeah, that's part of being a good mentor. And I think any mentorship program will tell you that you're in a partnership, and you don't have to, you're not there to be like the lecturer. You're not there to be like the head of the class kind of thing. You're there to just enter into it, realizing that you can learn a lot from your mentee.
Yeah, wonderful. And let me just check in with Evelyn before we're running short on time. I want to be really respectful of everyone's afternoon. Evelyn, did you have anything you wanted to add about tips or pieces of advice for?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, I think everybody's really said the most important things, but I think that no question is too dumb. You just kind of have to be humble and say, don't be embarrassed to ask anything, about your farm, because as Anna said, the little things make a lot of difference when you're just starting out. So I think that's the thing. And I really encourage people to do this program. It was great. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Evelyn. It's wonderful. I'm gonna, it's really wonderful to hear everyone's voice and I'm gonna put her on mute. I'm gonna share my screen, Sam, just because I can do this last one. So we do encourage everyone to, read through all of the materials on our website. It's pretty, we have a section for mentors, a section for mentees. Take a look through the application. We added some extra questions this year just to kind of capture a lot of what happens in the first screening calls, and just to better understand your situations up front. But at the same time, it probably will take you, 15 minutes, Sam? 15 minutes, 20 minutes max to fill it out. It's a lot of multiple choice. Right. And but we encourage you all to look through that. Please, be in touch with us with any questions that you might have about your, particular situations. We can't really tell you for sure, like in terms of like who your mentor or mentee might be at this point, because we're still accepting applications, but certainly put in an application and we'll be able to start that dialogue in January with you once all the application period closes. So I just want to do some quick housekeeping and then let everyone go. Reminder that there will be a short survey that pops up hopefully on your screen after you leave. Just take a minute to let us know how this new system went for you. And then I will be sending out a follow-up email, maybe even later today, depending on how fast this recording processes with links to the recording and to the slides. We do have a whole bunch of great webinars coming up. We have one next week, the last one of the year, about Facebook groups. So that's more about marketing. Oops. Oh, I don't know what just happened. Okay. And then we have a whole bunch in January and February about different grazing and production management practices. So Again, our mentorship program applications are due at the end of the year, December 31st. We do have applications for our Fund to Farmer grants, very popular grant program, up to $3,000 for pasture improvement, and then also helping folks that might be interested in getting certified or that already are welfare certified. We offer scholarships on an ongoing basis as well. That's on our website. So please connect with us if you haven't already. I think a lot of folks on this call have, but we love, having you participate in more of the programs and services. So I think that's about all I have. I really want to thank everyone that's still on, all of our panelists that joined us today. It was really wonderful to have you kind of giving these testimonials and just giving the ins and outs of your experience. I mean, that's really what is the most important part of it. And everyone in the audience, thanks for showing up and considering participating and for your questions and your attention. We're, again, happy to answer any lingering questions over the phone or over email. So please check it out. So I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of your day and that we see you on a future webinar and perhaps in our mentorship program next year. Thanks, everybody.
Ready.